Chapter 30. The Turning. I sought the Lord, and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears. Psalm 34, verse 4. The road blurred past the window. Trees became streaks, signs unreadable. Ruthie pressed herself into the passenger door, willing her body to vanish into the vinyl. The silence in the car wasn't peace. It was suffocating, broken only by the tire's roar and a persistent rattle in the dash. And still, Dylan didn't look at her. Until finally she asked,
Where are we going?
her voice was no louder than the air between them, thin, brittle, shaped more by fear than breath. Dylan's grip on the wheel tightened, knuckles pale against the leather. His leg bounced, erratic and restless, tension simmering just beneath the surface. Then he looked at her, not with love, not even recognition, just eyes, hollow, darkened by anger and something far more dangerous. Ruthie didn't really need an answer, she already understood. He wasn't heading toward a place. He was heading toward a feeling, control, dominance, retribution. She studied him from the corner of her eye, the sharp angles of his face now distorted by rage, the barely contained tremor in his limbs. He was a live wire, fraying from the inside out, and she was strapped beside him, caught in the current. He was unraveling, and he wanted to pull her down with him.
I didn't ask for this.
He snapped, his voice jagged and brittle.
You made me do it. You should have just shut up and stayed put.
Ruthie turned her head to the window, trying to steady her breath. She counted the white lines flicking past on the roadside to anchor herself in the chaos before responding.
I didn't leave to hurt you.
She said, barely audible. He scoffed, a sharp, ugly sound.
You made me look like a monster.
You did that yourself.
She said it louder this time, with more authority. She knew the moment the words left her mouth that they wouldn't go without punishment. His hand shot across the seat like a whip, fingers clawing into her hair. He yanked her violently. The car veered, tires screaming as they kissed the gravel shoulder. Her heart slammed against her chest.
Don't talk to me like that.
He bellowed, voice breaking. Spit flecked his lips. His eyes, bloodshot, wide, wild, darted over her, through her. His hand slammed her head against the window as he yelled, loud, furious, and incomprehensible. The words didn't matter. The violence did, making a loud cracking sound. The sound echoed in her skull. A white flash exploded behind her eyes. The world blurred. She tried to curl away, but the seatbelt locked her in place. Trapped. Then came the slap, hard and hot across her face. It snapped her head sideways, knocked the taste from her mouth, and blurred her vision with tears she hadn't yet released. Pain radiated outward like fire, across her jaw, down her chest, and into the already bruised flesh of her ribs. She trembled, fists clenched in her lap. Then, without another glance her way, Dylan turned his attention back to the road. He fished a battered pack of cigarettes from his jacket pocket. Only one left. He lit it with a snap of his lighter, smoke curling upward as he inhaled deeply. The car filled with the sharp tang of tobacco. His voice resumed, low and venomous, continuing his barrage of insults like it was the only language he knew. Ruthie no longer heard the words. Inside, there was only pain, fear, and the blur of violence, flooded with questions. Would she ever see James again? Would she ever laugh with Naomi again? Would she ever run her fingers through Bear's fur? Hopelessness and helplessness swept over her. Her mind circled the thought that maybe this was the end. But then, a whisper. A breath, not even words at first, just a sound shaped like surrender. Her thoughts drifted to Jesus, softly at first, like a memory she hadn't known she needed. Then came the words from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 12, verses 4 to 7. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, and after that can do no more. The truth struck her now, clearer than ever. Dylan could hurt her body, yes, but he couldn't touch her soul. Even here, even now, she still had power. Power in her choice, power in her prayer, power in her faith. And in that moment, something within her lifted. A defiant whisper of hope. She closed her eyes.
God, help me. Please don't leave me. Please. Hold me.
No lights split the sky, no sudden rescue. But somewhere deep inside, the trembling began to still. She wasn't alone, not really, not ever. A hush wrapped around her soul, an invisible hand steadying her in the storm. Dylan kept shouting, the car kept moving, but the noise dulled. She closed her eyes.
God, help me.
She said again. This time it wasn't a plea, it was an invitation, a cry for presence, a declaration of defiance, not to Dylan, but to the darkness itself. Up ahead, the road curved. A blue sign flickered on the roadside. Service station, 1 kilometer. She opened her eyes. Blood coated her lip. Pain pulsed through her ribs. But something steadier had settled in her spine. Quiet, sure, immovable. A knowing had risen from somewhere deep inside her, anchored in resolve.
I know you, Dylan.
Ruthie said quietly, her voice stripped of fear but not of weight. It was steady, even. Too even.
You don't mean this.
Her throat was dry, her heart hammering in her chest, but she kept her face soft, careful, controlled.
I'm sorry I left.
She said, the words tasting bitter in her mouth.
I know that must have felt like a betrayal to you. But we can talk this through.
She added, nodding slowly, as if she meant it.
We can work this out.
Ruthie didn't believe a word of what she was saying, but she needed him calm and she needed time. Dylan's eyes twitched, scanning her face for something, maybe sincerity, maybe fear. She didn't flinch.
Right now,
She continued, tone almost coaxing.
you need a smoke. I can tell. You've gone through your last one.
She glanced toward the dash, no cigarette pack in sight, just his twitchy fingers grasping the steering wheel, that restless energy she knew too well. Dylan didn't respond. She stared straight ahead, eyes locked on the cracked dashboard, willing her hands to stay still.
There's a servo coming up. You can buy some smokes, and I can go to the bathroom and clean myself up.
He didn't answer. She inhaled slowly, then said, steady and deliberate,
Listen, if I bleed in your car, they'll trace it, or someone driving past might see and call the cops.
her voice firm but not cruel.
I know you're sorry. I know you don't want to look at me like this the whole way, wherever it is we're going.
She turned her head, just slightly.
Just let me clean myself up.
He looked over. His eyes scanned the damage, her swelling cheek, the cut on her lip, the red bruises forming just beneath her scarf. A flicker of calculation passed over his face.
You'll get 2 minutes. You try anything, and I promise you will regret it.
He snapped. The servo loomed into view, buzzing with tired fluorescent lights, its cracked pavement stained with oil and wear. A rusted sign creaked in the wind. Dylan pulled in hard. The car lurched as the tires crunched over the pavement, parking crooked and close, angled like a trap reset. He paused before opening his door and glanced at Ruthie, his eyes dark and cold.
Don't even think about running.
He said, voice low and venomous.
The door's locked. And I know exactly where your little farmer and his friends live.
His words dripped with threat, not anger, not even warning. Promise. Then he stepped out, slammed the door shut, and locked it from the outside. The keys jingled in his fist with cruel certainty. Through the glass, Ruthie watched him approach the shop attendant. His mouth moved, calm, almost friendly. Too smooth, too practiced. Ruthie tried to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. She quietly scanned the car, careful not to draw any suspicion from Dylan, who kept glancing back. Moments later, he walked out with the bathroom key swinging from a stained blue tag, worn and chipped at the edges, while sliding a pack of smokes into his pocket. She sat frozen, hands trembling, heart pounding like it was trying to break through her ribs. Click. The door opened. He didn't speak, just jerked his head toward the side of the building. She stepped out, every movement deliberate. Her limbs screamed. Her ribs throbbed where his hands had bruised her. Her feet felt unsteady, like she was walking through deep water. He shoved her into the bathroom.
I'll be right outside the door, and I'll hear everything. Don't go doing anything stupid.
He hissed, then slammed the door shut. Fear had done its job. As the door slammed shut, she collapsed. Her knees hit the cold tile with a dull thud, and before she could stop it, a sob ripped free, quick, sharp, as if it had been waiting just beneath her ribs all along. Not weakness, release. After a minute, she stood up and caught her reflection in the mirror. Her lip was split and raw. A deep purple bruise was darkening along her cheek. Her eyes, bloodshot and rimmed with tears, stared back at her, wide, shaken, but unbroken, still breathing, still standing.
Lord, please,
She whispered, gripping the edges of the sink as though it might anchor her.
please show me the next step.
She scanned the small bathroom, her pulse pounding in her ears. First, she turned to the toilet and stepped up cautiously onto the lid, her bare feet slipping slightly on the plastic surface. She reached toward the window above it, a narrow rectangle near the ceiling, glazed with privacy glass. She pressed her fingers against the latch. Locked. Even if it opened, it was barely wider than her shoulders. No way out. Not this way. Her breath came faster as she stepped down again, glancing back toward the door. No sound from Dylan. Not yet. She dropped to her knees and yanked open the cupboard beneath the sink, rummaging through a jumble of half-used cleaning supplies, sponges, gloves, a bottle of bleach. Nothing useful. Then her eyes darted upward. There, on the back of the door, a laminated cleaning checklist hung from a metal clip, off-center slightly from when Dylan had slammed the door earlier. She rose and stepped closer, her hands trembling. She peeled the plastic back and slipped out the sheet of paper. Wedged behind the cardboard, a cheap blue pen. A single chance. She steadied her hand against the wall and began to write in large, urgent letters. Kidnapped. White car. Dylan Watts. Please help. Call police. She paused, then underlined please and included the date. Her heart pounded as she slid the paper back behind the plastic cover, smoothing it carefully so it stood out. She stepped back, staring at the door like it might betray her. The window was too high, the door too solid. But the words were there now, waiting. A whisper on paper, a cry for help. Dylan stood just outside, the shadow of his boots visible beneath the gap. Then, bang. His fist crashed against the door. Once, twice. The frame rattled beneath the force. Ruthie didn't flinch. She wouldn't give him the satisfaction. Instead, she smoothed her shirt with trembling fingers, willing her breath to stay steady. Her palm pressed once more against the cool porcelain sink, anchoring her, grounding her. Then she turned the lock and opened the door, and stepped out, praying the note would be enough. He was on her instantly, rough fingers clamping around her arm. His grip was like a chain biting into bruises that hadn't yet formed. He yanked her forward, then shoved past her into the bathroom, scanning the space for evidence she might have left behind. Ruthie subtly wedged her foot against the door, keeping it from closing all the way, praying he wouldn't look behind it. Then a sound, distant, but real. She seized it like a lifeline.
Someone's coming.
She said, hoping it would serve as protection, a distraction, anything. It worked. He jolted into action, panic flickering behind his eyes. He dragged her from the doorway like she was nothing, not human, not whole. Back to the car. The gravel bit her feet through the thin soles of her shoes, but inside her chest, where panic once ruled, something else was growing. Resolve. As Dylan shoved her back into the seat, she held one prayer close, like a match cradled in cupped hands. Keep me brave. Keep them looking. Let the right eyes find that note.
Thank you for listening to this chapter of Healing on the Land. If this story has touched your heart, I'd love for you to come join me for the next chapter. You can find it here on this channel. If you'd like to support more Christian storytelling, you can purchase the full book or make a donation using the link in the description. Your support, no matter the size, helps us to continue writing stories of faith, healing, and hope. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. May God bless you, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.